This is Clenbuterol for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and once again I'm delighted to be joined out here in Los Angeles by the head of Sky Sports Boxing, Adam Smith. Adam, how are you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Very good indeed. Enjoyed the undercard press conference. It's fantastic having Joe Saunders back on Sky. Massive admirer of Billy Joe, and yeah, I'm one of the ones that believes Devon Haney is going to become a real star in the sport. So yeah, it's a fantastic lineup. Some cracking young prospects as well on the card, and yeah, it's a good fight night without KSI and Logan Paul, obviously from a boxing point of view, but that just obviously is what the event's all about, and we wait for the main press conference. I can't believe it's the main press conference with a couple of novices, but it's terrific. It's been enjoyable out here. It's been a lot of fun. We've seen huge numbers tuning in to the streams, the YouTube streams. So yeah, we're really excited about Saturday.
Just on Billy Joe Saunders, there's no doubt in his ability and his talent as a fighter, but how important is it that he does perform well and he basically introduces himself to this American market to ensure that he has a better chance on securing a fight with a Canelo, a Golovkin, etc. next year?
You're absolutely right. There's no doubting his talent. You know, we've known it since the amateurs. But yeah, there's been times where he's blown a bit hot and cold, Billy Joe. So I think he needs a really, red hot performance on Saturday night. He needs something to, stand out from this show. And there's a lot of people trying to steal the attention from KSI and Logan Paul because they know the demographic and the millions that are going to be tuning into this. So it's a real opportunity for these boxers, like Billy Joe said, to really sell themselves this weekend. So yeah, I think he does need to make a statement. It's his first fight in America. He's convinced he's got the beating of Canelo. He wants to fight Canelo, and nothing other than a dramatic win would suffice, I think, for him on Saturday.
Eddie mentioned on stage as well that in Devon Haney's case, for Devon Haney, he wants that Lomachenko fight, but for Lomachenko to become the undisputed champion, he has to face Devon Haney for that WBC world title. Do you agree with Eddie's thoughts on it because Loma holds a franchise title?
Yeah, look, I mean, the belts are the belts. I think it's disappointing that Devon's become a world champion without actually sort of winning it in the ring. He won the Eliminator, but these things happen. We remember when Riddick Bowe chucked the WBC belt in the dustbin with Lennox Lewis all those years ago. There's a lot of politics in this sport, as we know. I think the key is that Devon Haney is a world fighter, world-class fighter, and he'll prove it, I think, on Saturday night that he is a world champion. Personally, I think it's a bit soon to match him with Lomachenko. I think Vasily is in a universe of his own at the moment. I don't think they need to do that just yet. I'd like to see him, there's so many fighters out there at lightweight. Maybe a Luke Campbell would be a really interesting fight at this stage. I know Luke would really fancy that. I think Ryan Garcia is going to end up being a big rival for Haney. So I think there's a lot out there for Devon Haney. He's in an unbelievably competitive division. And he's a young kid, so let's see how he does Saturday night. Let's get him back in the new year. Eddie's talking about the blockbuster fights in 2020. We'd love to see that, but I don't think there's that much of a rush with Devon because he is so young. I think he might be in a hurry to become that sort of multi-weight world champion that many people believe he will. But I think just maybe see what happens, see how it opens up. But yeah, listen, him and Lomachenko is a wonderful fight. I just don't think it's quite right yet.
On to the main event. There's two quotes I want to ask you about, one from each fighter. Starting off with KSI. At the 40-day screening, obviously I interviewed before that took place, but afterwards, when we watched it, KSI said that he wants to produce one of the greatest knockouts in boxing history. Your thoughts?
He's going to have to go a long way to do that, isn't he? There's been a few wonderful knockouts in boxing history. So, look, it's all part of the talk, the hype, the fun, the games. They are wonderful showman, KSI and Logan Paul, and I've said it all along. For the fact is, we're not really here to judge them on their boxing technique, their skills. They're two novice pros. They're turning over. They've had a fight before under different rules, and it's their professional debut Saturday night. I think they'll both be edgy. They're smaller gloves. There's no head guards, and I think the danger of them losing is so prevalent in their minds that I think it might be quite a sort of cagey start before they really get going. But they might just swing from the hip, and maybe KSI will produce one of those great knockouts. You just don't know. I think what's been fun about this is that it's a great story. They've obviously got enormous followings, and people are fascinated to see who'd win. KSI or Logan Paul, whatever level it's at, they look like they're well matched because they drew last time. So let's just enjoy it. I think we've had enough of sort of people criticising this event. Ultimately, we're putting on boxing week in, week out. We know what it's about. From Prograis and Taylor to Inoue-Donaire today, the creme de la creme. This is KSI and Logan Paul, two YouTubers fighting for the right to be king of the YouTube world, and they're two novice pros. It'd be interesting to see how well they do, whether they can box a little bit on Saturday night. But from a boxing point of view, we can't wait to see Joe Saunders and Devon Haney and everyone else that's on the card. But from a fascination point of view, and from a new age point of view, and from a changing times point of view, this could really thrust the sport forward in a very different and vibrant way. So that's why they're here, and that's why they're going to get on with it on Saturday night.
My other quote, I did want to throw at you, from Logan Paul. I've read it over social media on a few different sites. He said he wants to become the world heavyweight champion one day. Again, your thoughts on a quote such as that?
He told me that when I went round to his house, or should I say his mansion, or should I say his commune, or frat house, or whatever it is. It's quite a place in the other side of California. I like Logan. He's bright. So is KSI, JJ. They're both bright guys. They're both entertainers, and that's what they are, entertainers. I mean, Logan. Let's see what happens on Saturday night. Maybe he'll have another couple of fights. I mean, Shannon Briggs is going to say he's going to become world heavyweight champion because Shannon did. But it's silly talk, isn't it? Let's get through Saturday night and see what they want to do. But it's all fun and games. And Logan has athletic background. He was a wrestler at school and college, so he's probably starting a favourite here going into the rematch. And let's see how they perform. Look, if he gets a dramatic knockout and he wants to carry on and he wants to put his mind to it, he's young enough to become a fighter, no question about that. But no amateur pedigree, heavyweight champion of the world. Come on, Andy.
No, moving away from that, you mentioned Inoue, Nonito Donaire earlier on. Last night they fought. Inoue successful in what has been branded as a nailed-on fight of the year contender, which I'm sure a few other people will have a word to say about that. What was your thoughts on the fight, Adam?
Yeah, I'm gutted I haven't seen it yet. It's all the reports are amazing, and we put it on in Sky Sports. It was obviously the wrong time zone for us here, so yeah, I'm going to try and get hold of it later and watch it. But I've heard it's absolutely fantastic. Inoue came away with a win, but Donaire gave him absolute hellfire through it. Sounds like it was as good as Prograis Taylor, and if that's the case, then what a couple of finales we've had to the World Super Series. Congratulations to the tournament, to Calais, and the right finals ended up. But Inoue's special, and if he was under a lot of pressure, as it seems to have been, and he came through that, then that's fantastic news. The Prograis Taylor fight remains my fight of the year so far. So when I watch this, I'll let you know who I think's better. It seems like there's a fight of the year candidate every week at the moment. I mean, at domestic level, how good was Felix Cash and Jack Cullen the other night? That was amazing. So it seems to be in the water at the minute, and maybe we'll get more of that on Saturday night here.
I mean, just to move away from that, I want to move on to the WBC. A couple of days ago, Ray Vargas and Julio Cesar Martinez had minor traces of Clenbuterol found in the system.
They blamed meat again.
Say again, sorry?
They blamed meat again, didn't they? Contaminated meat. It seems to be the perfect answer. Listen, I don't know. I've always said that we're not officials. We're broadcasters. We read what you read. There are a lot of grey areas in these sort of things. But yeah, very disappointing if drug tests are being failed, or drug tests are being found to be contaminated, or whatever it is. But it's such a difficult topic in our sport, and such a tough one to really get our heads around, to find out sort of who is really guilty and who isn't. So yeah, look, we wait and see, and we watch their progress. But you and I know we don't want drugs in the sport. There's a zero tolerance, but sometimes these things are unclear.
That obviously happened a couple of days ago, but then we woke up this morning to see the WBC have announced a new standard for their Clenbuterol testing, allowing a higher threshold. Again, your thoughts on them to do that the day after seeing two athletes have minor traces found in their system?
I know what you're insinuating, and we're going to go back to Canelo in a minute, but I don't know. It's the WBC's policy. They're a governing body. If people don't like that, then they shouldn't fight for the WBC. Devon Haney's the WBC champion. He's proud of his belt. It's a great, it's been a great commission over the years. It's the green and gold belt, the belt that everyone seems to want. So if they've got a reason for doing that, then maybe there is something in these tests. But it's a really difficult subject, and it's one that I don't feel I'm really qualified to talk about, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a tester, I'm not an official, I'm a broadcaster. But what I can say is that anyone that's found to be banned of drugs and should serve a long penalty, a long sentence, and we've got to try and stamp it out of the sport.
Well, Adam Smith, I appreciate your time. I think the fighters are arriving now. So thanks to speak to myself and Boxing Social.
No problem at all. Always a pleasure.
Cheers, Adam. Thank you.